Now, it was our friend Nigel Farage from UKIP, which was instrumental in the UK breaking away from the European Union, much to the chagrin of people like the Open Society and George Soros. And what I'm attaching to this video is the comments by Nigel Farage in the European Union, where he exposes how compromised the whole European Union is by by George Soros and his Open Society Foundation. And that's when you had this huge influx of people from Africa into Europe, which is now causing a huge problem. George Soros is behind all that. And guess what? I have a photo of George Soros having a happy chat with one F W de Klerk. And thank you so much, Jan, for showing that to me. I've never seen it before, but it's very, very important. I'll just read to you what Jan sent me, because this is the sort of shit that you're not supposed to know about. And George Soros is a very, very devious and dangerous old fart. Much older than me, believe me. But he's got a huge amount of money. He spent $18 billion setting up his influence over the European Union. $18 billion. Jan wrote, "I'm a fan of your channel and enjoy your content, as I have the same feeling about South Africa, and I also live in Brisbane, in the northern suburbs, and found out that you're here in Brizzy as well." Brizzy is the local colloquial term for Brisbane. What prompted me to write to you was during listening to your clip about the Amazon Washington Post fake news, and you mentioned George Soros. Now, I've actually got a clip in here. If you go back to my old videos, you'll find it about George Soros and his Open Society Foundation. And they have an active branch of Open Society in South Africa that spends a huge amount of money funding political parties in South Africa, as long as they follow their mantra. Okay, getting back to what Jan wrote. It triggered something from a long time ago. Cliff Saunders, he died the beginning of this month. Ex-SABC had the last interview with former Prime Minister P W Botha. It was in 2006. Then SABC and Mnet refused to air the interview. Herewith is a sixth part of the interview. This is part 6, worth listening, how he predicted the mess South Africa is in now. So I'll actually put that link directly below this video, because this guy is kind of on the money. This is what's happening. You've got ultra-rich people who want to bring down society so they can just clean up. They make Adolf Hitler look like an amateur. They really do. And George Soros is right at the top of the pile of them. He is a nasty piece of, POS. But most interesting, the last words from an article, see below the last paragraph. Cliff Saunders mentioned that after the interview with P W Botha, said to him that F W de Klerk got the money from America, basically to ask PW to sell out the country. And you know where he got the money? From George Soros. Because what he wanted to do is he wanted to bring the country down. It's absolutely incredible. Then later I found something interesting. Google George Soros and F W de Klerk and you'll see that they are big buddies, big friends. Pictures of them as social gatherings. Yep. F W de Klerk is in George Soros's pocket. And that predates 1994. And you're starting to get a picture of who's actually behind this transformation of South Africa. So I believe PW was right. Soros paid FW de Klerk to sell out South Africa, and look at it now. South Africa was a testing ground for the rest of the world. Look at what Soros is funding in Europe and America, exactly as South Africa, running down the whites, mass migration and breaking culture and flaming racism and violence. So I just wanted to share this with you. And he says, regards, Jan. And he's given me a link to an article which is in Afrikaans, and I'll just see if I can pull that up and see what it's all about. Here we go. Oh, it's a very long article. What I might do is I might just link this down below this video as well, so you can go and check it out for yourself. But look, I have absolutely no doubt that FW de Klerk was in the pocket of George Soros. Absolutely no doubt. And look, if there's an investigative researcher here in my subscribers, please, I am pleading with you to go and research this subject. Look at the link between F.W. de Klerk and George Soros in the early 1990s, around that period when P.W. Botha was displaced. And look at the funding, look at the policies that were brought in, a whole range of things. And please, if you are that sort of person, send me an email with the information and the sources, and I'll put a friggin' video up about it, okay? Because this is incredibly important. Most of my subscribers know about the 1993 document, ANC document, where they talk about how they're going to boil the whites slowly like a frog in a boiling pot. I mean, they basically said that. You know, this is the sort of stuff that was going on behind the scenes when it's supposed to be a rainbow nation working together. And Ramaphosa was one of the key parties to this whole thing, and he's now the president of South Africa. Think about it. Anyway, here comes a video of Nigel Farage in the European Union talking about the influence that Soros has in that part of the world. And before that, I'm going to show you a still photo of F.W. de Klerk and George Soros, the big buddies. And you can go and find your own photos of them hanging out together. This is absolutely disgusting. All right, guys, please remember to subscribe to be kept informed. Ring the bell to get the updates, and have a great day. Bye for now.
Mr. Farage, 2.5 minutes.
Thank you. As Mr. Moscovici said at the start of this, the leak of all these papers and lists of people with offshore holdings has come about because of the Society of Investigative Journalists. But what's not been said this morning, and I think is relevant, is that the funding of these investigations came from one George Soros. Now, I say this at a time, I'm going to come back to so what, and it may have some personal interest for you as well. I say this at a time when the use of money and the influence it may have had on the Brexit result or the Trump election has reached a level of virtual hysteria. Just last week, the Electoral Commission in the UK launched an investigation to find out whether the Leave campaign took offshore money or Russian money. This came about as a result of questions asked in the House of Commons by one Ben Bradshaw, somebody linked to an organisation called Open Society. I just wonder, when we're talking about offshore money, when we're talking about political subversion, when we're talking about collusion, I wonder whether we're looking in the wrong place. And I say that because George Soros recently gave Open Society, his organisation, which of course campaigns for free movement of peoples and supports supranational structures like the European Union, he recently gave it $18 billion. And his influence here and in Brussels is truly extraordinary. Open Society boast that they had 42 meetings last year with the European Commission. They've even published a book of reliable friends in the European Parliament, and there are 226 names on that list, including yours, sir. I thought you'd find this interesting. We even had last week Mr. Verhofstadt lobbying on behalf of Mr. Soros at the Conference of Presidents in a battle that is going on with Viktor Orban, the Prime Minister of Hungary. If we're going to have a debate and we're going to talk about full political and financial transparency, well, let's do it. So I should be writing today to all 226 of you, asking some pretty fair questions. Have you ever received funds, directly or indirectly, from open society? How many of their events have you attended? Could you please give us a list of the meetings of all the representatives, including George Soros yourself? And I think this Parliament should now set up a special committee to look into all of this. And I say that because I fear we could be looking at the biggest level of international political collusion in history.